For a lot of people, the thought of making a game seems like something impossible. Where do they have the budget? How are they gonna get artists or programmers or modelers or anything to go and get their game in reality? And not just that, how are they gonna spend money on all of their advertisements, on their marketing campaigns, paying influencers to play their game, for example, or even just to like port to like consoles and such? You need money to buy those things usually. Well, in today's video, I want to talk a bit about the more nuanced side of how can you start making games on your own with a realistically $0 budget. Why listen to me? We kind of did that. Here at Bite Me Games, we launched our first game, Forge Industry, after 18 months of development, all whilst not really putting any money almost in the game. I think in total, we didn't even spend $500 on making our game. So in this video, I want to talk a bit more about what you should keep in mind, what you should do if you don't have that budget, and how you can still make a good game. Do make sure you stick around till the end as well, because I'm also going to talk a bit about what if you do have money, like you found a few $100s, how should you spend your money if you do have a little bit, but not enough to like hire a dedicated person? How should you spend your money to make sure that your game is just that little bit better when you release it? And I think the first thing you need to understand is the relationship between money and time. You can do everything you want in life for free. It's just gonna cost you a lot of time instead of costing you money. And this is something that you will at all times in development process of your game need to keep in mind. Yeah, I can go ahead and learn 3D modeling, but is that going to be worth it compared to spending money on like getting some 3D asset packs, for example, or even getting a dedicated 3D artist? Same goes with, yeah, I can learn programming, or do I get someone else to program for me? Or do I use an engine where there's not that much programming involved? Some of these things may give you like, they may cost you like $100 up front, but they will save you a lot of time throughout development. I think the best example we have with that is our game is localized, meaning that you can play it in German, you can play it in English, Dutch, French, whatever, but we didn't have the money to spend on a localization tool. So you also have something called i2 Localize that's like a pretty good and like well-known Unity localization asset. We're currently using it now that we have a bit of budget, and this honestly saves us so much time, because you need to keep in mind, yeah, we saved like $40 a person on not buying the license for it, but in return we had to spend, first of all, a lot of time like implementing our own localization system from scratch. So for example, certain languages we couldn't, like you had to like change the font automatically and things like that. We had to program all of those things ourselves, taking away time that we could have spent on working more on the mechanics or on any other part of the game. This is something that you need to realize. Everything can be done for free, but some things are worth spending money on if you do have it. But you don't have to spend money. You just have to acknowledge that you won't be doing things the most efficient way if you're doing them for free. And second up, this may seem kind of contrary, is that all of the tools to make games are free. You can do everything really for free. Our engine, Unity, is free, and similar to Godot, Unreal, and almost any other engine really, it's free until you like reach a certain threshold of earnings. And the same goes with programs, for example, for music, for art, like Blender is free, Sprite is free if you compile it. We made like this whole video a while back that you can check out about all the free tools that are really good for making games on your own. Things like a good IDE can help, but they're not needed. And I think where this is even more important, not just the tools, is in the tutorial. You have plenty of tutorials on something like Udemy, and you know, it's $14 if you get them in a sale usually. It's not expensive, but you don't need those. You don't need any courses, you don't need to buy from anyone really to be able to make your first game. You can do it with $0. So there's no reason to not get into game development because you're like, oh, I don't have the money. You can still make games. You can still release games. There are plenty of successful games that have been made on basically no budget almost. Just temper your expectations a bit, and especially be aware of the drawbacks that there may be as well in just having those longer development cycles and things like that. Something else you can try if you have zero budget is finding other people who are passionate. For example, you're really good at programming, but horrible at art. If you can find someone else who is also trying to get their toes into game development and is really good at art, but doesn't really have the programming side, well, if you can couple up and both accept that, hey, we currently have no budget, but let's do this together. Let's bundle our strengths and then split the money, or whatever like agreement you get. This can also be worth it. This will save you a lot of money because you don't have to commission anything else. Of course, there's the whole like problems that you can have with like, what if it's not a reliable person and like the whole dynamic. But this is a risk again that you need to take if you have no budget. You often find this as well with, for example, school students who are trying to get like portfolio projects and stuff like that. And generally they also just like making games. So you can definitely see there's like a bunch of game dev discords and things like that. See if there are other people who are like interested in like a similar kind of genre that you want to make, and see if you have a matching skill set. And that way you can take off some load and you can also diversify your skill set. There's plenty of other advantages as well to not going into a game as a solo developer. So this is also one of the biggest wins you can do. Also, make sure that you keep your game scope small, because you also have to remember, once you do release your game, you're probably gonna have some money that you can possibly start reinvesting into your next game. And it's much better if you can release a game in 3 months that gets like a few sales, but it's nothing crazy, versus one that releases in like 2 years, but only has like double the sales of the one that you made like 3 months of work on. I hope this makes sense. Basically, the sooner you can release, you'll probably start earning some income. Even if it's just like 2 sales a day, that's still more than what you're making right now from game development. So getting that first piece of a game out there is really crucial into like finding a way to support you financially. You won't be able to live off it maybe, but it will still be an income. It's similar to, for example, these YouTube videos. These are like assets, and once you finish the game, you don't need to maintain it anymore, really. Of course, yeah, you have the bug fixing and things like that, but you're not actively working on it anymore. Similar to how I make these videos, I sit down now, I spend a few hours in recording a video and I upload it. And from then on, like from the moment I upload it until like 5 years in the future, maybe, it may still like give me an income. Maybe it's only like 2 cents a day worth in like AdSense, but that's still more. And that compounds the more games you have as well. So get something out there as fast as possible. Still have it like be an okay quality, be a 7 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 game is what I usually say. And that way try to like, you know, self-fund your next game with the profits from your last game is what I would do. And then lastly, lean as hard as you can into all of the ways to do free marketing. You're gonna need to be able to reach out to a lot of people. You are sometimes gonna need to put your shame to the side and just send out emails. Or also just post anything you have of your game on things like Reddit to start building up those like wish lists, to start getting interest and feedback into your game. Because you won't have the budget to like just blanket give every YouTuber that like plays your genre a big bag of money and let them like review your game or like showcase your game to get wish lists and coverage in that regard. We didn't have that budget, for example, and we just still sent out emails to all of the YouTubers. And what we learned as well is maybe also like reach out on Twitter and things like that. There's also a bunch of hashtags on Twitter like Screenshot Saturday or Trailer Tuesday that you can also use to try and like advertise your game a bit. And reach out to those YouTubers, for example. Be upfront, be like, I have no money, this is a key or whatever. If you don't respond to this mail, no problem, but still reach out to them. Even if only 1% reaches out, that could still be the difference between you getting no wish lists and suddenly having a whole spike of wish lists. We've had one YouTuber who just played our game and we got like 16,000 views on that video and a whole bunch of wish lists. We didn't spend any money on that, and it was a really good return on investment then, just from like sending out emails. Hey, it's me from the future. I've been editing the video, but there's a very important thing I forgot. One of the other best ways to like do marketing is to make devlogs. So what that means is just document how you're making your game. There's a few extra nuances that I could probably make an entire video about because we didn't do devlogs correctly. I've been learning a lot about how to do devlogs now, but make them entertaining. That should be your #1 priority. Don't be like us and talk about the technical stuff too deeply. Really showcase your game. And then one like quick life hack I want to give to you guys, just a special, is when you make those devlogs and you upload them, name the first one devlog number 0 and name the second one devlog number 1. Why? A lot of people, they like to watch the first devlog. If you look at any channel that does like devlogs, you'll see that there's a very sharp decline in how many views they are having the like higher the number is of the devlog. People just look up for like first devlog of like anything, whereas they're not as interested usually in like the fifth installment of a certain devlog. By having 0 and 1 as your devlog numbers, you basically have 2 times that you trick the audience into being like, hey, this is a new devlog series that I haven't seen before. Is it unethical? I don't know. People do it. I suggest you do it too. Anyway, I'm going back to the video. Now, as I said, what if you do have some money? You have like $500 is like the amount that I have in my mind that you could spend on your game, but you're not fully sure on what to do. Well, maybe you got some assets in discount and whatever to get your game started, but let's assume you still have a few $100s. First thing I would do is I would find someone, an artist, and if you don't have like a very good artist, find someone who's really good at what they do and commission some of your promo art for it. So this would be like all of the images you see on Steam. This is probably one of the most high return on investments that we did with our one piece of concept art that we've been using everywhere, that people are like, wow, this is really good. It's gotten a lot of people to go buy as well when we go to events on our booths. People stop because they look at our concept art and they're like, wow, this is really good. Go for something quality. We spent about $150 on our piece of concept art, and I'm really happy with it. And it has probably given us more than like 10 times what we spent on it in just sales alone. Next up is filling up like any gaps that you still may have in your game. And what I mean with this is 90% of the time, this is gonna be music. This is something that not that many developers are like really good at, is having like a good soundtrack. It can be really nice to get a few pieces of music as well commissioned as well. I don't have any experience that deeply with it personally. We didn't commission any music for our game, but this is from, as far as I understand, and I talk to other developers, this can also really make or break a game. A lot of the feedback we get on our game is that our music is really good, even though, and I'm gonna be honest with you, we didn't even really spend any money on our game, and we still get a lot of good feedback about it. The music is one of the first things that your player hears, either when they start up your game or when they look at your trailer. And that brings me to the third point. If you still have some money over, find someone who can edit the trailer together for you. Again, you can learn how to edit trailers, but it's gonna take you a lot of time and it's probably gonna give you middling results. That's a bit what happened to us. Whereas your trailer is your calling card. If the concept art isn't the reason people buy your game, it's probably gonna be your trailer. So spend some money on your trailer, make sure it looks nice, and this will also help you drive a lot of sales and general interest in the game. So that's basically my main points that I want to tell you guys. If you're a game developer working on your own game, I'm really curious if you want to let me know in the comments down below, how much money have you spent so far on your own game? Have you done it on $0, or have you gotten like some investment, or you maybe just have a main job that is funding your side job as a game developer? I love to interact with you guys. Apart from that, if you're new here, we're a game development studio. We made our own game and we love to talk about games and teach you guys more stuff about games. We upload 2 videos every week about game design, about our experiences, or when we vlog and we go to like gaming events, for example. So if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to go ahead down below and leave us a like and maybe also subscribe, as it really helps us out and you get this cool content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!